The Eagles have made an important decision in the past few hours, and all signs point to a busy week ahead, with fresh updates coming straight from the heart of the Philadelphia Eagles base. The anticipation is building, and fans everywhere are watching closely to see what's next. You already know that Howie Roseman is a top-tier general manager. He sees the game like few others, makes bold and smart decisions, and always knows how to move at the right time. I have no doubt that we are in excellent hands as we head into the new season. If you agree, smash that like button and drop a comment. Howie is the best GM in the NFL. After just 2 practices of training camp, the Philadelphia Eagles trade rumors are heating up, and the conversation is centered on both current roster concerns and potential reinforcements. The Eagles are taking a calculated approach this offseason, relying heavily on youth development while remaining aggressive and ready to make strategic moves if necessary. And while today was technically an off day at NovaCare, the talk around this team is anything but quiet. Howie Roseman has constructed what might be the deepest and most versatile roster in the NFL. Philadelphia enters the season returning 10 of 11 starters on offense from last year's Super Bowl winning squad. The offensive line is stacked from left to right. Jordan Mailata, Landon Dickerson, Cam Jurgens, Tyler Steen, and Lane Johnson. Their elite unit supports a running game led by Saquon Barkley and a passing attack spearheaded by Jalen Hurts, who's been lights out this offseason, reportedly completing 97% of his passes in a brand new offensive system. Hurts seems extremely comfortable in this new scheme under Kevin Patullo, who's stepping in to replace Kellen Moore as play caller. Patullo, a trusted part of the coaching staff since 2021, is expected to bring stability and creativity to an already explosive offense. At wide receiver, it doesn't get better than A.J. Brown and DeVonta Smith, arguably the best WR duo in the league. Add in a top 10 tight end in Dallas Goedert, former first-rounder Jahan Dotson as your WR3, and Barkley out of the backfield, and you've got one of the most dangerous and balanced offenses in football. Patullo's approach might lean slightly more on the passing game this year, which could make the running attack even more lethal as defenses back off. Defensively, though, there are questions. Starting with the pass rush, can it dominate like it did during the playoff run? And in the secondary, there's an open battle opposite rookie sensation Quinyon Mitchell. Will it be veteran Adoree Jackson or the developing Khalil Ringo who earns that spot? At linebacker, with Nakobe Dean sidelined, the Eagles are exploring their options. Could it be rookie Jair Brown or Jeremiah Trotter Jr., who's flashed on special teams and shown steady growth under Vic Fangio's watch? Speaking of Fangio, he's got big responsibilities on his plate, and there's no doubt Howie Roseman is leaning on him for defensive input. The safety spot next to Reed Blankenship remains a major concern. Beyond Reed, it's a group of unproven, inexperienced players. That's a risky gamble for a team looking to repeat. Sidney Brown has potential but is often overly aggressive. Andrew Mukuba, a promising rookie, plays a lot like C.J. Gardner-Johnson, but that's just it. He's a rookie. This all brings up the regret of not keeping Gardner-Johnson around for one more season. The team could have evaluated young guys while still maintaining a safety net. Instead, they let him walk to make future cap room for guys like Jalen Carter, Nolan Smith, and Quinyon Mitchell. But this is where the Eagles' flexibility comes into play. With 13 projected draft picks in 2025, many in the top 4 rounds, the Eagles have trade ammunition. This opens the door for targeted veteran acquisitions if necessary. Whether it's safety, edge rusher, cornerback, or linebacker, Philadelphia is in a position to strike. And history shows they will. Remember when they traded for Jahan Dotson last summer or acquired C.J. Gardner-Johnson right before the 2022 season? They've even pulled off moves like Darius Slay, Darren Sproles, and Gardner Minshew. So, yes, they're patient, but also opportunistic. Names are starting to swirl. Asante Samuel Jr. remains a free agent if the Jackson/Ringo battle doesn't inspire confidence. In terms of trade targets, Buda Baker might be an option, though the Cardinals seem determined to stay somewhat competitive. Grant Delpit of the Browns could be more realistic, especially if Cleveland starts tearing things down again. Justin Simmons is another option. He's experienced, played under Fangio, and still has enough in the tank to contribute. He's not an all-pro anymore, but as a steady, veteran presence who can step in immediately, he'd be a huge locker room asset and could provide exactly the stabilizing force the Eagles need on the back end. Then there's Christian Wilkins. His name has caught fire after being released by the Raiders. While healthy, he's a top 5 defensive tackle, and his 2023 season with 9 sacks earned him a massive $110 million deal. But that deal fell apart quickly. A Jones fracture in his left foot suffered in Week 5 derailed his year. The disagreement between Wilkins and the Raiders over a second surgery led to his release. He earned nearly $50 million for 5 games, but he's still dealing with foot issues and has filed a grievance with the NFLPA to recover voided guarantees. For the Eagles, though, Wilkins might not make sense. Jalen Carter, despite missing the first 2 practices with a shoulder injury, is expected to be just fine and is already one of the best at his position. Jordan Davis looks transformed, slimmer, in the best shape of his life, and ready for a breakout year. The depth is solid, too. Moro Ojomo and Ty Robinson offer promise, especially in Fangio's 3-4 scheme. So while fans are intrigued by Wilkins, it all comes down to the medicals. If the team doctors see red flags, that's a no-go. No matter how talented, you can't invest in someone who might be sidelined all year. Howie Roseman won't hesitate to act if needed, but he's also not reckless. There's a reason this team is so deep and competitive year after year. So now I want to hear from you. Do you think the Eagles should make a move at safety or another position? Or should they stay the course and trust in the youth movement? Let me know what you think. Let's dig deeper into the potential implications of the Christian Wilkins situation and the broader defensive strategy moving forward. It's easy to get excited about a big name hitting the market, especially one as dominant as Wilkins when healthy. But you have to weigh the upside against the risk, and in this case, the downside might be too steep. You're talking about a player who's already had surgery on a serious foot injury, resisted a second procedure, and is still dealing with complications well into 2025. That's not the kind of uncertainty you want to add to a team looking to repeat as champions. And remember, the Eagles are not desperate at defensive tackle. They've quietly assembled a unit that could be elite if things break right. Jalen Carter was arguably the best DT in football last year until he started to wear down late in the season. With better conditioning, he could push for Defensive Player of the Year. Jordan Davis slimming down is not just a cosmetic storyline. It's about endurance, explosiveness, and unlocking the potential that made him a first-round pick. Moro Ojomo has flashed in limited reps, and rookie Ty Robinson fits the system like a glove. That's why, even with a big name like Wilkins available, Howie's not rushing to make a move. This front office knows exactly where the team's strengths and vulnerabilities lie. Instead, the real focus remains the secondary. That safety spot opposite Reed Blankenship continues to be a glaring issue. Look, Blankenship has proven he belongs. He's tough, instinctive, and consistent. But next to him, it's a mix of potential and question marks. Sidney Brown, Andrew Mukuba, both are aggressive, athletic, and fearless, but they're also raw. Their aggressive play can lead to blown coverages, penalties, and explosive plays. And that's the kind of thing that swings playoff games. That's the kind of thing that loses championships. So what's the plan? Evaluate these guys through training camp and preseason. Give them real snaps, real opportunities to prove they can handle it, but also stay on the phones. Howie Roseman is known around the league as one of the most active and creative general managers in football. He's built up the asset pool for this exact moment. 13 draft picks next year, most of them in the early rounds. That's a war chest. That gives you leverage to call a team like Denver and ask about Justin Simmons, or Cleveland about Del Pitt. It gives you options if the young guys don't hold up, and that flexibility is how dynasties are built, not just by hitting